bring in Hadley Heath Manning, Policy Director at the Independent Women's Forum. What do you think?
You know, he may have a disadvantage now that he's no longer the outsider, but he has a new set of advantages. First and foremost, he's running on not just promises made, but in some cases, promises kept. He's appointed conservative Supreme Court justices. He's cut taxes. He's gotten tough on immigration and trade. Those were some of the key campaign promises from 2016. So now, of course, President Trump asking voters to reelect him to continue along those lines.
He's bringing back up, though, that really powerful theme that worked in the first place, and Hillary Clinton cemented it with the deplorables comment. This idea that there is this governing class, this ruling elite, who looks down on the rest of America and doesn't think we're smart enough to vote for ourselves, that we're smart enough to spend our own money, that really they know better what's good for the rest of us than we do because we're just too ignorant and too racist and, you know, too whatever else. He bolsters that theme, though, when he talks about they tried to take away your voice in your vote. Impeachment helps him with that argument, does it not?
It does. And that exact phenomenon that you're describing, sort of the campaign class versus everyday Americans, this is what is leading to the incredible enthusiasm behind the president and his reelection campaign. You know, we hear about people camping out, waiting in lines for hours to get into one of the president's rallies. And that's why it's not a single policy issue, but rather it's that cultural divide. And you mentioned impeachment. I mean, obviously, we're a very divided country. But when the president is running for reelection with the support of the GOP, and I believe Republicans are more united around him now, much more so than they were in 2016. If you look at the other side of the aisle, and of course, Democrats have a very wide, very crowded field in their primary. That's going to work to their disadvantage as they prepare for 2020.
And you mentioned the judges. That's a very big thing that people forget is how many judgeships have been filled. And that was fulfilling on that promise that he was going to be conservative, like a lot of evangelicals had wanted but were concerned. Let me talk to you about another kind of launch that's going on, Hadley. In L.A., residents today kicking off a formal effort to recall Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti for his failure to deal with the homeless crisis. The crisis, L.A. Homeless Services Authority itself counted nearly 60,000 county residents experiencing homelessness this year, up 12% from last year. But there's a lot more than that. There's the filth on the streets. There's the police officers getting sick because there are people out, you know, defecating in the streets. And you wonder, these cities that vote in liberal mayor after liberal mayor who promise sanctuary cities, and then all of a sudden conditions get really tough out there. You wonder, when does the tide turn? How far do things have to go? LA may be seeing it. I think about Seattle. I think about San Francisco. I think about New York. You know, at what point is the backlash real?
Yes, homelessness is not an issue that you can put an easy Band-Aid over it. It's not simply actions to decriminalize homelessness or to provide services to the homeless population, but there are issues that run very deep and at the intersection of, you know, drug abuse or mental health issues, poverty. That's where we find a lot of the struggle with homelessness. So it's something that we need to address as a nation, especially in urban centers, not just on the surface, but at a deeper level. And although we should have expectations for local leaders like our mayors, we also should have expectations that this is a partnership, that local governments, along with the private sector and many, you know, community groups, charities, have really strong, you know, ministries and efforts to address the root causes of homelessness. That's the only way that we're going to see real progress on that issue.
Yeah, as opposed to saying it's a lifestyle choice and then it just kind of balloons. Hadley, thank you for that.